For the Supreme Court to, on any issue, to reach a decision contrary to public opinion is exactly what the Supreme Court is about. It's to protect basic rights, even when majorities are in favor of something else that happens all the time.
That right there. Well, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell going through some serious mental gymnastics to defend the Supreme Court's deeply unpopular draft opinion overturning Roe by saying that stripping women of their rights, well, that's just protecting basic rights. And you don't like it? Yeah, okay. If you can't tell, Republicans are having a hard time figuring out just what to say and do when it comes to abortion now that they're the dog that caught the car. Last week, Republicans running for Senate were told to assure voters that they were the compassionate consensus builders on abortion. And then Republicans in Louisiana went ahead and approved legislation that would classify abortion as murder, which would automatically trigger a life sentence without the possibility of parole for women and their doctors. The bill would also criminalize certain types of contraception and IVF. Well, yesterday, after massive national blowback, they decided that, locking up women for life might not be such a good idea politically. The Louisiana State House voted to rewrite their bill. Unsurprisingly, the replacement bill is just as stringently anti-abortion. Not only sets prison time and fines for abortion providers, it could also make some forms of birth control illegal in the 21st century. Joining me now, New York Times columnist Michelle Goldberg and Dino Badala, host of the Dino Badala Show on SiriusXM. And Michelle, making the argument that, just because it's a minority opinion, that doesn't mean it's bad. Well, that's weird when you're stripping half the population of their votes. I mean, people didn't like Brown v. Board either. A lot of white Southern parents reacted to it by stripping their kids out of public school and putting them in private school and then demanding to get a tax break. That doesn't mean the segregation was right. Your thoughts?
Well, look, I actually do think that they are correct that the Supreme Court doesn't necessarily depend for their legitimacy on majority support for their decisions. The problem is that you have layers upon layers upon layers of minority rule, right? You have these judges that were placed into their positions by presidents who didn't win the popular vote in many cases. Then you have states that are gerrymandered so that even if people do oppose these incredibly stringent abortion bans, it will be extremely difficult for a majority of the vote to translate into a majority of the legislature. So you have various institutions of American life that are kind of working undemocratically in many instances to strip women of this fundamental liberty.
Right. I mean, Dino Badala, people imposing a religious diktat on a majority who doesn't want it. That's what the Taliban does. So saying, well, just because people don't like it. Yeah, a lot of people don't like what the Taliban does. But that doesn't mean them putting this fake religious diktat based on their misinterpretation of Islam. That doesn't make that okay either. But I guess to Mitch McConnell, they're the Taliban. They're in charge. What are you going to do?
By the way, the Taliban just sued the GOP for trademark infringement right before the show. They were very upset with what they're doing. Look, Joy, I love the fact that you're talking about this for what it is. This is religious tyranny. These are people, even the governor of Oklahoma, Governor Stitt, a few weeks ago signed a ban on abortion saying, these are my religious beliefs. And then they don't take it the next step further. Well, I'm going to make these, my beliefs, the law of the land. And I don't care what your religion is. I don't care about your religious liberty. I don't care if you're of no faith. I'm going to arrogantly make you live under my law, which to me is a violation of the First Amendment. It says Congress shall not establish any religion. That applies to the states, too. It is unconstitutional. It is un-American. And Joy, for years, they said Muslims that we wanted to impose Islamic Sharia law. We did. They were projecting the whole time. This whole goal was the American Taliban. And now we're seeing it come to life. And the victims will be women having loss of control of self-determination and self-autonomy.